Animals. We think we know them, but I was shocked to learn that their mourning rituals sometimes mirror our own. When a gorilla dies, its group gathers quietly, gently grooming the body. A mother dolphin might carry her dead calf with her for days. Crows holding funerals like humans, and elephants will revisit the bones of loved ones years later. It's a heartbreaking and strangely beautiful reminder that emotions we take for granted may run deeper in the animal kingdom than we ever thought. Get ready to witness incredible moments of animal grief and remembrance on today's episode of Forever Green. I promise this will change the way you view the creatures we share this planet with. If these stories touch you, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out. Let's dive in. 15. Magpies. Magpies, part of the corvid family, which includes crows and ravens, are known for their intelligence and complex social behaviors. Like their corvid cousins, magpies have shown behaviors that suggest they engage in a form of mourning or remembrance for their dead. When a magpie encounters a deceased fellow, it may participate in what can be described as funeral-like behavior. Observations have shown that magpies gather around their dead, sometimes bringing grass, leaves, or twigs and laying them around or on the body. This behavior involves individuals gently pecking at or touching the bodies of their deceased companions. This act, reminiscent of human burial rites, indicates a level of social awareness and respect for the dead that is rare among birds. Magpies are known for their problem-solving skills and ability to mimic human speech, traits that underscore their cognitive complexity. The funeral-like behavior they exhibit toward their dead suggests an emotional depth that complements their intellectual capabilities. Magpies are one of the few non-mammal species known to recognize themselves in a mirror test. 14. Orcas. Orcas, also known as killer whales, are among the most intelligent marine mammals, known for their complex social structures and deep familial bonds. These creatures live in a tightly knit group called pods, which are often composed of family members spanning multiple generations. The strong social connection within these pods are crucial to their survival and well-being, making the death of a member a significant event that impacts the entire group. When an orca dies, the response from its pod can be profound. There have been documented instances where orcas exhibit behaviors that closely resemble mourning. Perhaps the most striking of these is the practice of carrying the deceased. Mothers have been observed carrying their dead calves for days or even weeks, refusing to let them sink to the ocean floor. The perfect example of orca grief was the case of a mother orca, known as J35 or Tahlequah, who carried her dead calf for 17 days over 1,000 miles. Orcas are found in every ocean, from the Arctic and Antarctic regions to tropical seas, making them one of the most widely distributed marine mammals. 13. Monkeys. Monkeys, with their high social intelligence and complex emotional lives, display clear signs of mourning and grief that reflect the depth of their relationship within their troops. When a monkey dies, the impact on its group can be visibly distressing. Members of the troop may gather around the deceased, touching and inspecting the body, which indicates an attempt to comprehend the loss. In some cases, mothers have been observed carrying their deceased infants for days or weeks. Monkeys live in closely knit communities where each member plays a role in the social hierarchy and daily activities, such as grooming, foraging, and protecting the territory. The loss of a troop member disrupts the balance and can lead to visible changes in the group's dynamics, such as altered grooming patterns or changes in hierarchy. The most striking demonstrations of monkey social behavior is their ability to learn from and adapt to the losses within their community. Capuchin monkeys use stones as anvils and hammers to crack nuts, exhibiting one of the most sophisticated uses of tools among non-human animals. 12. Penguins. Penguins, iconic for their stark black and white plumage and life in some of the planet's coldest environments, also exhibit behaviors that suggest a profound response to loss and grief. When a penguin dies, especially a chick, it's not uncommon to observe the parents or partners showing signs of mourning. They may stay near the body, seemingly in a state of confusion or distress, and at times appear to be calling out to the deceased or attempting to warm it with their bodies. This behavior suggests an awareness of the loss and a struggle to come to terms with it. The most convincing observation comes from examples where penguins have been seen mourning over eggs that will never hatch. They stand vigil over these eggs, refusing to leave them unprotected, a behavior that mirrors the care and commitment they show to their living offspring. These highly social birds are known for their lifelong partnerships and close-knit colonies. Penguins rely heavily on their social structures for survival, from huddling together for warmth to taking turns shielding each other from the harshest winds. Emperor penguins can dive deeper than any other bird, reaching depths of over 500 meters, 1,640 feet, and holding their breath for more than 20 minutes. Hippos. Hippos are often misunderstood as purely aggressive animals. They display complex social behaviors that hint at a deeper emotional capacity, particularly in their reaction to death. Within their pods, which can consist of dozens of individuals, hippos form strong bonds, particularly between mothers and their calves. Observers have noted that hippos show signs of anxiety and distress when confronted with the death of a pod member. They may gather around the deceased, sometimes pushing the body through the water or attempting to lift it to the surface, behaviors that suggest a recognition of the death and possibly an expression of mourning. The striking aspect of hippo behavior is their communal care for young, with pod members often seen protecting and guiding not just their own calves, but those of others within the group. A remarkable observation that highlights the depth of hippos' social connections is their response to human activity that threatens their habitat. Despite their hefty appearance, hippos are incredibly fast swimmers and can outrun a human on land over short distances. 10. Giraffes. Giraffes possess a complex social system that includes deep bonds between individuals, particularly among females and their offspring. These towering creatures exhibit mourning behaviors to the death of one of their own. When a giraffe dies, members of its group sometimes linger around the body for hours, observing and occasionally touching the deceased with their long necks. This behavior indicates a form of mourning or at least an acknowledgement of their loss. Giraffes are known for their strong motherly bonds, with mothers fiercely protecting their calves from predators and staying close to them for extended periods. This protective instinct and care is shown between mothers and calves, and it underscores the potential for profound grief when a loss occurs. One of the most convincing observations of giraffe mourning came from a wildlife reserve, where a mother giraffe was seen standing vigil over her dead calf for several days, unwilling to leave its side. Giraffes have a unique blood pressure regulation system that prevents them from fainting when they lift their heads from the ground to the sky. If you're enjoying this video, leave a like and also check out 20 unique animals that nature treated badly on Forever Green. Subscribe and ring the bell to never miss a video. Now, back to our video. 9. Sheep. Sheep, known for their strong flocking instinct and social nature, display signs of distress and mourning when they lose a member of their group. This behavior underscores the depth of their social connections and their sensitivity to changes within their environment. When a sheep dies, the remaining members of the flock may show visible signs of anxiety, such as increased vocalizations, restlessness, and a tendency to stay close to the place where the deceased member was last seen. The social structure of sheep, organized around tight-knit groups, plays a crucial role in their response to death. They rely on each other for comfort, safety, and social interaction. Sheep also possess an impressive memory, particularly for recognizing faces and individual members of their flock, which lasts for years. Sheep's recognitions to death and separation challenge the misconception of these animals as unintelligent creatures. Believe it or not, sheep can remember faces, up to 50 of them, and not just other sheep, but humans too, for years. So, if a sheep looks at you like it knows you, it just might. 8. Horses. Majestic and social creatures form deep bonds with their herd members and human caretakers. When a horse loses a companion, whether equine or human, it often exhibits behaviors indicative of grief and loss. These can include vocalizations such as whinnying or calling out, searching for the missing member, changes in eating habits, and signs of depression such as lethargy or lack of interest in surroundings. Horses may also stand over the spot where their companion had died or was last seen, displaying a profound sense of loss. Horses have remarkable memory, which enables them to remember herd members and humans they've formed bonds with over long periods. This memory contributes to the depth of their mourning. One of the most touching examples of a horse's capacity for grief was observed in the ceremonial farewell for a fallen police horse. The horse's equine partner was brought to the funeral, where it notably lowered its head in a gesture that many interpreted as a final goodbye. Horses communicate their feelings through facial expressions, using a complex system of ear positions, nostril changes, and eye movements. 7. Cats. Cats also experience and express grief, albeit in more subtle ways compared to dogs. When a feline companion or their human passes away, cats may exhibit changes in behavior that indicate mourning. They might display signs of depression, such as a lack of interest in food or play. Some cats search the house for their missing friend, meow more than usual, or spend more time at places favored by the deceased. One of the most remarkable stories that highlight a cat's loyalty and emotional depth involves a cat that reportedly kept vigil over its owner's grave for years. This story echoes the tales of canine loyalty, like that of Hachiko. Cats are creatures of habit, and the disruptions caused by the absence of a familiar presence can deeply affect them. They thrive on routine and the security it brings, so the sudden disappearance of a key figure in their life can lead to anxiety and sorrow. Cats may make over 100 different sounds to communicate with humans and other cats, from a soft purr to a loud meow. Each sound is a word in a rich language of cats. 6. Dogs. Dogs, often called man's best friend, are well known for their loyalty, intelligence, and the strong bonds they form with their human companions and other dogs. This deep connection extends into the realm of grief, where dogs have been observed displaying behaviors that suggest mourning and sadness when they lose a companion. Dogs may show signs of depression, such as loss of appetite, energy, and a lack of interest in activities they previously enjoyed. They may also sleep more than usual or seek out items that belong to the deceased. One of the most heartwarming displays of canine loyalty is seen when a dog refuses to leave the side of a deceased companion. There are numerous stories of dogs that have stayed by the graveside of their owners or fellow dogs for days, weeks, or even longer. Hachiko, an Akita dog in Japan who waited at a train station every day for his deceased owner to return from work, continuing this vigil for nearly 10 years after his owner's death. Dogs have a sense of time. Research has shown that they can learn to anticipate future events, such as their owner's return, based on patterns and routines. 5. Crows and ravens. Crows and ravens, part of the corvid family, are renowned for their exceptional intelligence and complex social structures. These birds exhibit behaviors that indicate curiosity, caution, and an understanding of death. When a crow or raven dies, members of its group often gather around the deceased, creating a large, noisy assembly that can last for hours. This gathering, sometimes referred to as a funeral. The assembly around the deceased may serve multiple purposes, including learning about potential threats in the area. Crows are not just smart birds, but they also have a fascinating connection to human behavior. Way back in the day, these clever creatures were some of the first to show humans the importance of burying their loved ones. Their problem-solving skills, comparable to those of young children, include using sticks to retrieve food and working out multi-step puzzles. Crows are not just tool users, they're also capable of creating tools from memory, bending wire into hooks to retrieve food from tight spaces. Researchers have found that not only can these birds identify individual humans who pose a threat, but they can also communicate this information to other birds. Next time you see a crow, remember it's not just any bird, but a master engineer with a plan. 4. Gorillas. Gorillas exhibit a profound sense of loss when faced with death within their groups. These social animals, living in tight-knit families, show a range of behaviors that indicate mourning and respect for the deceased, underscoring their emotional depth. When a gorilla dies, members of its group may sit quietly around the body, touching and grooming it in a quiet manner. This quiet mourning period allows the group to come to terms with the absence of their member. Gorillas have been known to go to great lengths to protect and care for their young and injured group members. Gorillas also are famous for their ability to communicate with humans through sign language. Koko, a western lowland gorilla, was famously able to use over 1,000 signs to communicate her thoughts and feelings. Have you ever seen gorillas in circles around trees as if they're holding a meeting? Yes, that's right. They have been observed engaging in behaviors that suggest a form of spirituality or ritual, such as creating and sitting in mystical circles around tree trunks. 3. Dolphins. Dolphins are celebrated for their intelligence, sociability, and complex behaviors, which include profound responses to the death of their own. When a dolphin loses a calf or a companion, they exhibit behaviors such as carrying the body, vocalizing differently, and swimming slowly. This behavior suggests a deep sense of loss among the survivors. Members of the pod often stay close to the deceased, pushing it towards the surface, which is thought to be an attempt to help them breathe. An interesting aspect of dolphin society is their long-term memory, which allows them to remember individual voices and relationships years after they've last heard them. Dolphins are known for their capacity for cross-species friendships, including those with humans. Dolphins have their own way of calling out to each other, almost like using names. They whistle to communicate, ensuring everyone knows who's who in the vast ocean. 2. Chimpanzees. Chimpanzees, our closest living relatives in the animal kingdom, share not only a significant portion of our DNA, but also our capacity for complex emotions, including grief. When a member of their group dies, the response among chimpanzees can be heartbreakingly human-like. They may refuse to leave the body, gently touching and grooming it as if they're trying to understand or come to terms with the loss. The group's demeanor changes, often becoming quieter as they gather around their deceased member in a somber vigil. A particularly touching aspect of chimpanzee mourning involves mothers and their infants. Mothers have been known to carry their deceased infants for days or even weeks, unwilling to part with them. One of the most astonishing observations of chimpanzee behavior is their ability to mourn not only their own kind, but also other species. For instance, Jane Goodall documented a case where a chimpanzee adopted and cared for a baby baboon after its mother had died. Imagine using a stick to get a snack from a tight spot. Well, chimpanzees can do just that. They use tools like sticks and leaves to grab food, proving not only that they're clever, but also quite handy. 1. Elephants. Elephants are well known for their strong social bonds and complex emotional lives, qualities that extend into the way that they grieve for their lost ones. When an elephant dies, members of its group will gather around the body, extending their trunks to gently touch and smell their fallen comrade. They may remain by the side of the deceased for days, sometimes even trying to bury the body with leaves, dirt, and branches. These intelligent creatures revisit the bones of their dead, touching and smelling them sometimes years after the death has occurred. This suggests a long-term memory and emotional connection to their lost loved one. Elephants are renowned for their ability to remember and mourn not just their own dead, but also humans and other animals with whom they've formed a bond. There have been cases where elephants have gently caressed and protected human bodies found in the wild. They remember the faces and relationships with both elephants and humans over the years, underscoring the saying, "An elephant never forgets." Elephants can also recognize themselves in a mirror, a rare ability in the animal kingdom that indicates a high level of self-awareness. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more amazing adventures from Forever Green.